Many believe that male is dominant over women in our society, but the reality is different. Warren Farrell published a book named The Myth of Male Power, which identifies the world as both male and female dominant. While some feminists may assert this book is an attack on women, it is actually an attempt to show areas in which men are at a disadvantage without claiming that women are responsible for their troubles. Farrell pointed out that jobs involving physical risk are almost all filled by men. The justice system, where sentences for males are comparatively heavier than women, and sexual harassment, which is basically a one-way street. We have to face the reality. Men have become weak, and their masculinity is long lost. As men become increasingly aware of their experience as a man in this biased society, they are acknowledging how men are limited by the dominant construction of masculinity. Warren Farrell took the matter a bit further by claiming the status of victim and alleging that men's power is a myth. The male gender is treated as a disposable sex. Our societies have set up laws that verified men's protection of women. Women have gained a lot of rights but refused responsibilities, and men have become powerless victims of this unfair setup. You might have heard your whole life that women are powerless, and they suffer several hardships and crimes at the hands of men. You should embrace your masculinity and never let yourself down because it's not the truth. When you look around, you'll see that our society shows the same respect towards women as men. You will see women in police, politics, sports, and law, and they even earn more than men in their respective departments. Some of you might have been rejected or denied by women in favor of guys who treated them badly, but guess what? You are lucky. If you ever find a date in the future, you will have to pay for their part and entertain them to prove your worth. Still, they will be free to deny or reject you, and after that, you will realize that women were not treated badly at all. It was quite the opposite. Dr. Warren Farrell was elected 3 times to the board of the National Organization for Women and spent much of his life advocating for feminism. According to him, men live in a reality where they think that they have power. But the truth is that every turn of life, men struggle with the consequences of feminism.
And that is the huge challenge with where feminism has been going recently. At least when I was on the board of NOW in New York City, at least a portion of feminism was saying, I am woman, I am strong, as Allah.
Ask yourself, what do you think of women being the weaker sex in our society? Is it really true? Well, Warren specified 3 experiences of males hallucinating male power and external and internal powerlessness. The majority of the male population is stupid to think that they are powerful and completely ignorant to the fact that they do not even have the power to control their own life. Men have to select their education and career with the goal of higher pay due to the spending obligations such as providing for wives and children, home mortgages, education expenses, retirement, etc. If you were a man with a family, you would know exactly how it feels and what I'm talking about. Man thinks he's the owner of his house, but his woman thinks it's her castle. Men created technology to free women from a lot of household work and promoted them from baby-bearing machines to independent women of the digital era, which also freed up time and increased women's life by 50% since 1920. However, men had to spend more time traveling to work, working night shifts, and disconnecting from their lives as the competition increased.
What I learned is that what we had done with the women's movement, it was a beautiful gift that we gave to women. The gift was when children came, the women could choose between working full-time in home, raising children, raising money, or doing some combination of both, if they were married to a man who was successful. If they weren't married, different issue. If they weren't married to a man that was successful, different issue. But if they wanted time with their children, then all the options were open for them. But their husbands never even discussed the possibility of any option but, well, they did have 3 options too. Option 1 was work full-time. Option 2 was work full-time. And option 3 was work full-time. Or work overtime if they were a working class man, or work 2 jobs if they were, or working time if they were over middle class, and 2 jobs if they were working class.
Dr. Farrell said that it is very different to raise sons compared to generations gone by. He explained this example with the victimhood of the black community. If a black male gets killed, it's said that blacks are more likely to get killed than whites, whereas if a black female gets killed, it's protested as violence against women. Some ignorant men even empowered the victims and participated in such feminist movements, thereby obliterating the rights of future generations. The author noticed that when women criticize men, It's called insight, women's liberation, and high self-esteem. But when men do the same to women, it's viewed as sexism, defensiveness, and backlash. When women hold off from marrying men, it's called independence. But when a man hold off from marrying a woman, it is referred to as fear of commitment. Your school or college would never introduce this book as a social science subject because they know they will face the backlash of the feminist community. Feminism has played the power of distribution and specified one gender in acting as a provider and protector to another gender. We have been through wartime, the industrial era, the introduction of computers, and finally the digital age. Let us now discuss the roles of each gender, and then you might realize that the ground has leveled for both genders, and the idea of males being protectors and providers does not hold anymore. Dr. Farrell wants men to understand that it's very tough for them to live in this biased society. How can a man protect a female like his wife, daughter, or mother if he can't even protect himself? Feminism brought independence to females in the form of education, jobs in a government department, seats in parliament, changes in inheritance laws, etc. Yet no man ever challenged this and asked how and where he fit into this grand scheme of things. Several laws were developed for women, not realizing what they were supporting, what was stored in them, and what would be the consequences. Men became protagonists for equal rights for women. They realized the consequences over time when married couples moved their fight to family courts and husbands were hit with huge unfair demands of lifelong maintenance and alimony. In some cases, women even demand the property that you build after spending a major portion of your life. Male colleagues started to become victims of misuse of posh law at the workplace. Husbands were accused of marital rape, unnatural sex, and POSCO acts, which can destroy mental peace. In short, the patriarchal mindset took several decades to wash away, and we should start accepting the fact that men are the weaker sex. Our society is in a transitory phase, and there will be a strong pushback from other groups. However, every man must read this book to accept their position in society, which will lead to the healthy survival of all. Do you think men are the weaker sex in society? Let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Until then, take care.